The Federal Labor Party, and I hope the federal government, to cut off military aid to the military of Myanmar. That's our practical plan. So we should send a message out there that we want the Labor Party to urge an end to support from the Australian Army to the Army of Myanmar. The military is driving this campaign in Myanmar. The Myanmar military get assistance from Australia. That assistance should be immediately withdrawn because of what the Myanmar military is doing to the defenceless people of Rakhine province. So let's agree on that as our way forward. And that means Shiket motions, Joe motions, Labor Party branch meetings. It means going to see Penny Wong, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, and saying this is what we want. The people, I'm sure Mr. Rashid would agree, the people, the Rohingya people want something practical. And the practical thing we should campaign for is an end to Australian military aid. And the union's going to be very helpful in this. Why should the military in Myanmar, generals who, until they reform themselves, ran a military dictatorship that put Aung San Suu Kyi under house arrest and before that in jail, thousands of political prisoners. We had sanctions against them, and we lifted the sanctions against the Burmese military when under Thein Sein they began to reform and allow political prisoners out. I went there as foreign minister. I told President Thein Sein, I told his foreign minister, we were lifting sanctions because they were changing. But their cruelty against the Rohingya is now time for us to reimpose sanctions. Not sanctions that hurt the ordinary people of Myanmar, but sanctions directed at the military, so that no general in their army is able to travel to Australia. So that no officer in their army can have financial transactions with Australian banks. This is the suite of sanctions that we would apply, specifically directed at the military leadership, letting them know that Australia holds them responsible for the cruelty being perpetuated against the Rohingya. They're the type of sanctions that we should champion, because these people are defenceless and they're asking for help, and they're up against a very nasty chauvinism. I met people on my second visit to Myanmar. I met people in Yangon. They were representatives of the Buddhist-based political parties.